policy and
Member's
protect the
time has
interests of the
expired.
investor. I commend the bill to the House.
Scott Simpson.
Mr Speaker, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to rise and speak in this debate as it draws to a close. The Illegal Contracts Unlawful Limitation on Regulators' Powers Amendment Bill, in the name of the Honourable Leanne Dalziel, is, as a previous colleague of mine said earlier, Todd McClay, a worthy and justifiable piece of legislation to be introduced, except that, as with many things in politics, timing and luck is actually quite important. And so this is a piece of legislation in its draft bill form that has in fact had its time and it's been and gone. Because what's emerged in the time since the meltdown of ING is that this government, this John Key national government, has in fact taken a very strong position in determining that our capital markets should be strong, that the regulatory environment in which our capital markets operate should be strong and well respected. And indeed we've seen two pieces of legislation introduced into this House in the last 48 hours or so that have gone further to strengthen the position. So strong capital markets are indeed important to us all. Now, the current law, Mr Speaker, is sufficient to deal with the legitimacy or otherwise of the legal settlements. And indeed, the mover in her opening introductory comments said, and I just wrote them down as she said them, she said, the need for this bill has diminished. Well, I would suggest to you, sir, that in fact the need for this bill has diminished to a point where it is absolutely no longer required at all. She went on further to say that the bill may not be a perfect answer. And, sir, I would suggest indeed that she's quite right. It is not a perfect answer, and indeed it's an answer that is no longer required at all. The extent that the bill was drafted in a response to a particular situation that arose as a result of the ING frozen fund situation caused a great number of New Zealand investors enormous concern and heartache at the time. And indeed, the whole financial crisis of the time created a situation for many New Zealanders where their life savings were diminished and in some cases completely done away with. And of course, that's not a situation that anybody would want, let alone a government. So how did we respond to that as a responsible, coherent and caring government? Well, we introduced legislation that ensured that our regulatory environment would be protected and strengthened. And so as part of our 120-point economic plan, we have been focused terrifically on these sorts of matters, and it's our priority to, of course, build a more competitive economy, a bolder, brighter, stronger economy. And so what we have done is to ensure that everything is put in place, and we've attempted, of course, to provide restored confidence in the financial sector, because it's restored confidence that will give New Zealand investors an opportunity to, with real strength of confidence, to invest again. Now, they haven't had that for a long period of time, so we're very focused on that. So we've tightened the oversight of those working in the financial market sector, and they now operate in a regulatory regime which is going to be very, very strict in terms of what they can do and how they process their transactions. One of the things that we've done is that we've removed the barriers to trans-Tasman business, Mr Speaker, and progressed legislation that will enable us to meet our single economic market achievements with Australia. And we've rewritten a 33-year-old securities law leading to the Financial Markets Conduct Bill. So, Mr Speaker, those are just some of the measures that we have taken as a responsible and caring government to ensure that our environment, our regulatory environment, is robust and strong, and that's one of the reasons why we will not be supporting this introduction.
In reply, the Honourable Leanne Dalziel.
Mr Speaker, I'm very disappointed that the National Party has adopted a position in